Alright, this video is about revealing fake martial arts. So, I try to keep to myself, try not to create much controversy, but I just had to make this video. Because I saw somebody make that title. I didn't watch the video, I just saw the title, and the title alone just makes me want to have my own reflection on it. I just feel that there's a lot of people out there that talk about the martial arts, but it's like very few people actually know the martial arts and what it really is. There's just a bunch of people talking, and there could be millions, thousands or millions of videos out there of people that are saying things when they shouldn't be saying anything. And then what ends up happening is you're amassing like so many videos, so many people giving their opinions, that the real people out there that really know their stuff, they just get lost within all this garbage, and I'm just gonna share my opinion about it. I think a lot of the people out there that say that it's martial arts, when it's not really martial arts, it's just something else. So as far as like reviewing fake martial arts is concerned, I just want to make some examples of what we know to be true and what we know to be false, and then you use the same type of criteria to assess whether or not this is the real martial arts you're dealing with. To me, it's similar to maybe a jeweler who could identify like a fake diamond opposed to a real diamond, even though they might look the same. And then you need to be trained in order to kind of see what the differences are, in order to see what's real, what's fake. Another example is maybe like you got a real plant and then you got a fake plant. Or, with this thing with the breast implants, you got real, breasts and then fake breasts. There's just the real and the fake. We know, what's real and what's fake when it comes to certain things. So one thing I want to make clear is that boxing is not martial arts. Boxing is a sport. So if you go into a boxing gym and then you see a bunch of people doing kicks, then this obviously not boxing, because boxing is nothing to do with kicks. Okay, so you go into a boxing gym and you see a bunch of people playing football, you know that it's not boxing, it's something else. Okay, so we know what basketball is. So if you go into a basketball stadium and see people playing soccer, then you know it's not basketball. Okay, so when it comes to cage fighting, when you see people fighting a cage, you know that it's just not regular boxing, and you know that it's not just regular wrestling. So we can identify what's real, what's fake. Okay, as far as the martial arts is concerned, it's not cage fighting, it's not boxing, it's not kickboxing. Like, martial arts is like the real. It's like the real, and it's also about creativity. It's not a sport. So what is sport? Sport is competition. Martial arts is not competition. Martial arts is meditation. So if there's no meditation, then it's clearly not martial arts. It's something else. Okay, so like martial arts is dealing with the reality. So it's talking about like real death situations, like things where it's preparing you for death. To prepare to survive or to prepare to accept. So real martial arts deals with like real weapons training, real like self-defense for survival. Like police officers, for example, like that's real. Like they're really dealing with deadly situations. Okay, but people that play, that are gamers, that play video games, that's not real. That's like virtual reality based. People that do like paintball, that's not real. Okay, people that are just training in those ways, that's not the real. But the real is when you're actually on the field like a police officer, or you're actually in the military and you're actually dealing with the real deadly situations. So real martial arts is dealing with preparing for the real. So in the real martial arts, they're not doing the competitions that are like cage fighting, boxing, wrestling, all those things. They don't do that. Real martial arts are preparing for the real survival situations. And then a real artist is somebody who's creatively expressing himself, like honestly. Like he's like a real artist. Like a Tupac is a real artist, okay? Bruce Lee making his movies, that's like a real artist, okay? So you combine the real training with the real artist, and that's what makes the real martial arts, okay? And all that other stuff, no matter if it's Olympic Taekwondo sparring or judo in the Olympics, boxing in the Olympics, college wrestling, pro wrestling, cage fighting, Muay Thai, any of these other tournaments, that's not martial arts. That's just like a sport. It might have been the martial art that has basically been watered down and corrupted to become like a sporting type of arrangement. But the real martial arts is not that. The real martial arts is something where you're training for survival purposes, okay? Not for sport purposes. And it integrates the meditation as far as like bringing a person into humbleness and being in the moment and just basically transcending that fear of death. So then you're encountering the real, okay? So, like, obvious examples, like, this is a fake knife. We know that it's fake, and then this is like a real knife. You're not gonna play around, like, this is like representing the real martial arts, where this is like the real stuff. Okay, we know the difference between the fake and the real. It's just very apparent. Okay, so like we need to have that same type of mentality and understanding, and the guns, looks like a real gun, but it's still not a real gun. It's an airsoft gun, okay? And if you look closely, it's not real. It looks real, but it's still not real. And then you got a real gun. People that handle real guns will know that this is a real gun. And you need experience in order to know that. They look the same, almost, but they're not the same. Alright, so this is fake, this is real. This might be like combat sport. It's not real, might look real, but it's not real. And then this is like the real martial arts. It's like the real stuff where it's like what you're learning is truly deadly, and not only will you potentially hurt somebody, but you will kill somebody. But it needs to be justified, by law, justified by the situation. And then spiritually, it's grounded on the teachings of the East, Eastern philosophy, meditation, Tao Te Ching, teachings of Buddha and compassion and love. That's what makes the real martial arts. Fitness, of course, it's important to have, to become the physical representation of the real martial arts, but it doesn't necessarily have to be about the fitness. Because, for example, Bruce Lee is dead, so his body's not even here, but he's representing the real martial arts with his movies and his writings, and then he's not even alive, but through the intellectual understanding and through the spiritual teachings, you could have that's the real martial arts. It's just missing the physical because he's dead, but he's representing the intellectual and the spiritual. Okay, and somebody that's living right now, like say like a Jet Li or whatever the case may be, he's like a physical representation of martial arts through the physical, the intellectual, and then the spiritual. Okay, remember, in the way that I'm teaching, the people that are representing it that are famous or that were famous is like a Bruce Lee and a Jet Li. These are like representing the real martial arts. These are not cage fighters. These are not boxers. These are not wrestlers. These are not football players. Not basketball players. These are real martial artists. Okay, and don't get it twisted. Don't have a misunderstanding. Know the real from the false. And I'm not just going to say, oh, you know, I'm not trying to downplay the false. I'm just saying that there's clearly a difference. There's clearly a difference between boxing and martial arts. There's clearly a difference between cage fighting and martial arts. Okay? The people that are untrained will not notice the differences, but the people that really know will see clearly the differences. Okay, real martial artists are not bound by rules. The only rules that they're bound by are the rules of their heart. They're not even bound by the rules of the government. The government may say, hey, you know, you're not allowed to carry that gun. You need a license. But a real martial artist is all about survival, so, you know, you might have to break the law in order to survive. Okay? You go into a train, you're not allowed to have a gun in the train, even if you are licensed. But somebody in the train wants to kill you, well, he's not allowed to kill you. You end up surviving the situation because you end up having your gun, and then you're dealing with the courts afterwards. I mean, it's just something where it's beyond the law, it's beyond the rules of the UFC, it's beyond the rules of the Boxing Commission. It's the rules of your heart. That's what you follow. You survive. You know, and it's meditation. It's not Christianity. It's not Catholicism. It's not some organized religion. Martial arts is heading towards the ways of meditation, the teachings of the East. So you go anywhere and they don't know nothing about Eastern philosophy. They don't know nothing about the Tao Te Ching. They don't know nothing about the teachings of Buddha. They don't know nothing about meditation. Then it is clearly not martial arts. It's something else. It might be Krav Maga or something like that, or it might be just something that's just straight self-defense. It's just a firearms instructor, you know, firearms training. You know, it just might be boxing, but it's not martial arts. You cannot drop the spirit and then all of a sudden say that it's still martial arts. It doesn't work that way. Okay? So that's my feedback on it, and hopefully this video can get people to really have a deeper understanding of what the martial arts means.